What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of The Dig, a series dedicated to helping you improve profitability on your farm.
Well, Colin, it's the month of July, and you know what that means, right?
Yep.
Field show season is right around the corner.
No, Becknology Days. Remember?
You're right, I forgot. Yep.
All field shows this year are now called Becknology Days.
Right.
And they start at 8 o'clock this year.
That's right, Colin. A lot of changes this year with Becknology Days.
Right.
Some more time for you guys to spend there at the show and hopefully get even more out of each and every single one of those shows that you attend. With that being said, today's episode, we're just going to be looking at specifically the Atlanta Becknology Days and some of the things Colin and I think that you should really make it a point to hit while you're here. I'm Aaron, this is Colin.
Let's dig in! You know, Aaron, I think if we're gonna really convey our message of what everyone should see at Becknology Days, we should go find a tour buggy and go out to the plots and actually show them.
You know what? That's some good thinking on your part. Let's do that.
Let's
Let's go. Man, that just takes me back to my childhood, you know?
I love Mario.
I do too. Well, hey, this works out really good actually because we're on the buggy and we are next to one of the tours that we wanted to talk about. But before we dive into that, I said we take advantage of these seats. All right, Colin, we are sitting here on the route for tour 2. Why don't you tell these lovely people what they can expect to hear about if they were to take this tour?
So tour number 2, first off, is one of 4 tours that we're gonna have 2 buggies going. Okay, they're gonna run every 30 minutes, and that is solely to maximize the amount of people we can get on these tours. This is one of the 4 that's very popular, so we wanna be able to make sure we can get as many people on these tours as possible. But tour number 2 is gonna cover pretty much all things fungicide on corn, okay? Anything from Xyway, right? We've done that for the last couple years and seen some pretty cool data out of it. We're gonna be looking at ground versus drone. You know, drones are becoming more and more popular. We actually shot a video there a while back looking at ground versus drone and the efficiencies of a drone. You know, we have a new study this year, a biofungicide product versus a synthetic fungicide product. So trying to compare those. And we're going all the way down to the basics, looking at fungicide additive and a fungicide adjuvant product, okay? If we're already making that pass with the fungicide product on our corn, is there something else we can put into the tank to be more profitable?
Yep. So if you want to learn about fungicide on corn, I mean, this is the one, right? If you want to learn more about fungicide on soybeans though, we have another tour that's kind of catered towards that as well, right?
I think we're gonna maybe head that way.
Yeah, we can do that.
Peter, the procurator, anybody's just
As giant now may go a ding 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 ding.
Yeah, so like we alluded to, this is all things fungicide on soybeans essentially, right? So just the opposite of what we talked about in the last tour. On this tour, we are gonna have some of the basics, the things that we've been testing for a couple years, like Xyway on soybeans, ground versus drone on soybeans, and then also that fungicide additive study. What's cool about the soybean fungicide studies though, is we have a couple new ones this year that we're actually really excited to talk about and to share with you guys. The first one is gonna be our fungicide insecticide application omission study. So in that study, we're looking at what's the right pressure, what's the right nozzle, what's the right time of day to be doing our fungicide insecticide applications, right? So we're looking at all of those different things in this one study and trying to figure out what's the best thing. And if we pull one thing out, what's gonna be the one thing for us to pull out and lose the least amount of money or the least amount of yield, okay? So the next one we're excited about is our fungicide insecticide application interval study. So have you ever been spraying, just mixed up, say a brand new tank, it's a beautiful day outside and all of a sudden a thunderstorm pops up. You get rained out for the rest of the day. But the next day, maybe you can go back and you can start spraying again. Well, have you ever wondered, is the tank that I mixed up still as effective as it was yesterday? So in this study, what we're gonna be doing is mixing up a tank load, going out, making some passes one day, then we're gonna park the sprayer and let it sit out in the sun for the rest of the day, all afternoon, and then come back the next day and then spray again and see if there is any change in the effects that we see with our fungicide and insecticide. Really excited to get some data and share that study with you guys during Becknology Days. The last two studies on this tour are gonna be things that are kind of easy ways to improve the pass that you're already making, right? So carrier rate by pressure study, looking at different pressures and different carrier rates. What's the optimum thing there when you're trying to apply fungicide? And then lastly is the nanotechnology study. That's an easy product that we can add in. We've tested for 2 years now. This is gonna be the 3rd year. So far, it's looking like a very easy product to add in and just make your fungicide that much more effective.
Yeah, so look guys, tour number 5 is gonna be all about fungicide on soybeans and how we can be more effective with that fungicide pass going forward. You know, Aaron, my tank's pretty empty on this whole fungicide talk.
Seriously.
Yeah. Ding. Why don't you say, what do you say we go check out maybe like Innovation Alley? You know, there's a lot of unique stuff that's over there.
I like that idea. Yeah, that'd be a good one. All right, Colin, we have made it out here to what we have deemed Innovation Alley. Right?
Yep.
This is also going to be another tour with 2 buggies running every 30 minutes because we, again, expect this to be a pretty hot topic tour route. Speaking of the route, though, what can they expect to see?
Yep. Obviously, this is where we like to put our innovative stuff, the things that we're thinking outside the box on, right? So the first one we want to talk about is short corn. You know, a couple years ago, we did short corn, and we brought it back again this year, looking at different populations when it comes to that short corn. We're also looking at side dress depth. The side dress depth is probably one of my top 3 favorite studies we do. And the thing I like to mention is side dress depth doesn't cost you any money, right? Making sure that we have our side dress pass at that correct depth, that doesn't cost you any money. But this year we have added innkeepers, thanks to Yetter, on the back of our side dress rig to be able to, we're looking at sealing in that UAN with that side dress pass. Is there anything you're excited about within Innovation Alley? There's so much more than just what I mentioned.
Yeah, so I would say one thing for me is tire pressure. We've been doing that for a couple years now, but it's still a really cool study, and more and more manufacturers now are releasing tractors and planters with kits from the factory to be able to adjust your tire pressure. So still a really relevant and cool and forward-thinking study. Also, I like to think about, we are working with John Deere again on a compaction study looking at frame weight distribution kits that come on John Deere planters. Are they worth it? Can we reduce some of that pinch row compaction between the tires there, especially there in the middle of the planter where a lot of our weight is centered on our bulk fill, center fill planters? Another study we have here on Innovation Alley is looking at a really cool planter that we were able to get our hands on this spring and do some planting with that actually uses super ultra high pressure water jets to cut through the residue and actually make kind of a trench, so you're more or less replacing say a no-till coulter or even your row cleaners with this technology. So we're going to be talking about that out here and looking at maybe any visuals that we get this year from the differences between running that or just running row cleaners. We're able to do kind of a side-by-side with that.
You know, Aaron, that was only a snippet of what's actually going to be at Becknology Days. We talked about 3 of the 7 tours that are going to be available.
And when you think about even beyond these tour buggy routes, we also have our tent talks as well that people can go and sit in. The president's message is usually air conditioned, so that's always a pretty big hit too. But be sure to also check out those tent talks like I was talking about. Also, for any of you that have gone in the past and rode on Collin and I's tour down at the High Yield, we actually are split up this year. It said we spend too much time together or something, I don't know.
Apparently.
So make sure you hit up both of our tours as well, but we won't tell you what numbers those are because we don't want to ruin the surprise there.
Come say hey to us.
Yeah. Also, don't forget to grab your lunch while you're here. Always a big hit.
That's probably the
Days.
number one.
Yeah.
Number one.
Definitely make sure you hit lunch. And then lastly, also want to point out, we do not have time on this video to talk about all the other outside Becknology Days that we have going on, but one of our interns actually wrote a very good article in the Crop Talk article that just came out recently that sums up some of the things that you should hit at the other outside location Becknology Days this year as well. And with that, I think we can probably go ahead and wrap this thing up. You guys don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that little bell icon so you get notifications when future videos come out. And we will see you again on another episode of
The Dig!
Now I'm kind of thinking about that Shoop's lunch. Get the sleep out of your eyes.
Good. Yeah. I'm wondering.
I lost my bike, fell off my shoe gown.
And see even more of the show. And I don't know what to say beyond that.